year ago when my late partner Jimmy had just had an operation, and when he came out of the operation, he was very high on the drugs, and he had this vision. And he told me we had to plant purple carrots.
Entonces la historia atrás de eso, hace un año, el esposo de ella, que ya ha fallecido, después de una operación en que le habían dado muchas drogas, y en ese estado él dijo que tenemos que sembrar muchos zanahorias moradas.
And we were to take these purple carrots and we were to make medicine for the people.
Y con esas zanahorias moradas tenían que fabricar medicina para el pueblo.
At that same time, I had just obtained a scholarship to study with Dr. Elaine Ingham in the soilfoodweb.com school.
En ese mismo momento ella había recibido una beca para estudiar con
Dr. Elaine Ingham.
el Dr. Elaine Ingham en el programa Soil Food Web.
Dr. Elaine went up against Monsanto about 10 years ago when they were doing a study. She was a professor at a university. They were doing a study on does GMO plants affect the human being. And she went up against them because she said the tests, the soil tests, the plant tests weren't going to answer the question, and you had to use a microscope to do it.
Hace unos 10 años ese doctor Elaine estaban haciendo estudios para ver los efectos de lo transgénico, y ella decía que los tipos de pruebas que estaban haciendo no eran lo suficiente, que tenían que analizar los microbios para verificar eso.
She took it to the UN in her fight, and she won. She went back to her school, her university as a professor. She was fired.
Yo no había dicho que era como en contra de Monsanto. Entonces ella llegó hasta las Naciones Unidas con esa lucha, y ella ganó, pero después por eso se perdió su puesto de trabajo.
So she started a school and started teaching people about the soil microbiology.
Entonces ella creó una escuela y comenzó a educarle a la gente sobre la biología del suelo, de los microbios.
So currently I've gone through the foundation program, and they did offer me a scholarship. It was $5,000. Keisha and Casey, everybody who knows Keisha and Casey, raise your hand. They were a young couple here, really on fire. They're now they'll be talking with us today. They're now in California, and they have an amazing business. We are their sister company.
Entonces ella ya ha hecho el programa, de los fundamentos de ese programa de Soil Food Web. Ella ya lo ha hecho, y Keisha y Casey, que estaban aquí antes, que muchos conocen, que ya están en California, y vamos a estar hablando con ellos hoy, y ellos ya tienen un negocio en eso, y tienen como el programa como hermano de lo que estamos haciendo aquí.
So I'm still in the study, getting my consultancy, but I do have my lab technicians now, and the information I have learned has been very humbling. As an organic gardener for 30, 40 years, I had to change my whole approach to the way that we love our soils and plants.
Entonces ella todavía está en el programa para ser asesor de eso, pero ella ya tiene los técnicos en el laboratorio aquí, están trabajando en eso, y ha sido una experiencia que le hace sentir humilde, porque después de 30, 40 años de ser agricultora orgánica, ha tenido que aprender muchas cosas de nuevo, cambiar conceptos.
So as we all know, there's a lot of interest in Vilcabamba and people moving out of the matrix. A lot of people coming here looking for land, looking for a new life, looking to become self-sufficient. And through Tara, I met this couple, Peter and Gabriel. They came and did some live blood work, and we connected. And they asked me the question, what is it you need to start this?
Entonces aquí en Vilcabamba hay muchas personas llegando que están saliendo de la matriz, como dicen, del sistema de allá, buscando otro tipo de vida para una vida autosostenible. Y Tara y Gabriel le había preguntado cómo podemos, how can we start a program?
What would I need?
What would you need?
What would I need
Como
here to start this?
habían preguntado qué necesitas aquí para comenzar un programa de eso aquí.
I said a backhoe. And a compost turner, because this compost is you need very specific turns, not a normal compost turner, a micro compost turner. Peter and I spent about 3 months researching. I know so much about tractors and backhoes and compost turners. They've gifted us. It's on the container in the States. It's being brought in with a tractor, a specific tractor, and it's called the Mighty Mike Compost Turner. It's a $100,000 gift.
Wow. Congratulations.
Entonces, contestando a la pregunta, ella había dicho que necesito primero how do you say backhoe in Spanish? Anyone know? Tractor. Bueno, necesito un tractor o máquina, y necesita también un
Mighty Mike.
Un Mighty Mike para como revolver, girar el compost. Es un tipo específico que ya lo están enviando de los Estados Unidos, es algo de $100,000, lo están trayendo desde los Estados Unidos.
So, we have a tractor and a Mighty Mike. What am I going to do with that? I could drive the tractor around the property. This is how this all got started. This is the initiation. It's like, okay, where do we take this to the next level?
Entonces ya tenemos el tractor y tenemos el Mighty Mike para el compost. Ya tenemos eso, entonces ese es el comienzo y cómo vamos a trabajar con eso para llegar al próximo nivel.
So through the Purple Carrot Club, Living Ground Suelo Vivo was given some birth. But I realized how big this project is. It's actually a paradigm shift at all levels, as above, so below. And we need to go below to these microbes, to the micro world, to understand what's going on with us at this macro world.
Entonces, por medio de ese club de los zanahorias moradas, han llegado a este punto, pero estaba diciendo que ese también es algo más grande, es un cambio paradigmático, un cambio de la visión, entendiendo la conexión entre lo de arriba, lo de abajo, lo de adentro, lo de afuera, para unir todos esos conceptos.
So Tara and I started looking for land, and we found 2 pieces of land we like. One, we have a pretty firm agreement that we're able to use it. So we have the land, we have the equipment, we have the idea, we have the knowledge.
Entonces, con Tara comenzaron a buscar tierras, encontraron 2 tierras y la una ya tienen un acuerdo más o menos firme para utilizar la tierra, entonces ya tienen la tierra, tienes las herramientas. So you have the land and the tools.
The knowledge.
Y tienen el conocimiento, entonces ya tienen
Equipment.
Y sí, ya.
So this is why you're here, because we're in this paradigm shift. And this cannot happen without a collaboration of a community. The idea that we have, everybody can win.
Entonces, por eso ustedes están aquí, para ese cambio del paradigma, y no se puede hacerlo sin una comunidad y es algo en que todos pueden ganar.
And quite honestly, I don't want to run another business. I am too busy. My life is really full, but I do want to inspire and educate and be a part of a project that's based on sacred commerce, where there is no leader, boss, there is no top down. It's fully visible and everybody can win.
Entonces ella no quiere crear nuevo negocio, está muy ocupada para eso, pero quiere hacer parte de un tipo de comercio sagrado, en que no es que hay un jefe, sino todos participando, todos ganando.
Are we ready?
Yes.
¿Estamos listos?
So my commitment to this project is as an educator and mentor. I'm a young grandma, but I am a grandma. And since Jimmy passed, I've had so many elder women who have taken me under their wing, and I've actually longed for that my entire life. I am now, through their mentorship, stepping into the mentor role, and that's my commitment here.
The mentorship of...
After Jimmy passed,
Yeah.
there was older women who came to mentor me.
And what was, sorry, the first part of what you said?
So now I'm ready to
Right.
step into a mentor
Right.
role for this project.
Ah, ya.
Sure.
Entonces, bueno, ella ya es abuela joven, pero sí es abuela y ya está lista para entrar en el papel de guía, sería la palabra, de guía para la gente y después del fallecimiento de su esposo, tuvo la guianza de abuelas, de mujeres y ella ya quiere entrar en ese papel para como educar a las personas.
So why is this soil work important? And I'm going to talk a little later about why is this different to organic gardening, and it is very different. Soil degradation is a collective threat for everybody, and it's serious right now. Students all over the world are testing soils, virgin soils, soils that have not been touched by farming, and they're losing the microbes.
Entonces ya va a estar hablando de las diferencias entre la agricultura orgánica y lo que ella está haciendo con Soil Food Web, que es bastante diferente. Y primero está hablando de, se dice la degradación, ¿cierto?, del suelo, que es un riesgo colectivo para todos, es un gran riesgo, ya están haciendo pruebas del suelo y se muestra que no hay los microbios que deben haber.
In the other work I do with lifeblood and in the natural work, working with people for their health, I believe chronic illness exists because we do not have the microbes in the soil. It's foundational.
Por medio de su trabajo analizando la sangre de las personas, ella cree que las enfermedades crónicas de las personas son por causa de la falta de microbios en el suelo.
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because I just want to explain what I just said. What this new information is the plants of the roots of the plant through a pH signal communicate with the bacteria and fungi for their nutrients in exchange for amino acids and simple sugars.
Entonces ya entienden que las raíces de las plantas se comunican con las bacterias, los hongos, por medio tiene que ver con el pH, entonces comunican sus necesidades para para alimentarse, para los ácidos aminos y todo eso.
Then there's a predator. They're predator microbes. Our amoebas, our flagellates, you don't need to say these words, and, and the nematodes who eat the bacteria and fungi that have the nutrients the plants have asked for, and they poop them out soluble. They're not soluble until that point.
Entonces, los elementos que la planta necesita, hay gusanitos que comen a las bacterias, los hongos, y después esas sustancias salen de los gusanitos en una forma ¿cómo es? Pues en que se puede absorber. Eso, solvable. Gracias.
Because this cycle is broken, because we have forced ourselves in amendments, whether that be natural or chemical, we have destroyed that pathway, and nobody here, except those that are older when you were a child, knows what nutrition tastes like.
Hemos rompido ese ciclo por medio de nada más agregar cosas al suelo. Pueden ser químicas, pueden ser naturales, pero nada más agregando cosas y rompiendo el ciclo, entonces solo son los viejos que saben cómo sabe comida que es de verdad saludable.
We're now about 2 generations deep into this. This is why we're seeing chronic disease. This microbiome is no different to the soil biome. That it is so intricately connected. We can grow these bold, beautiful plants. They've been forced. They've been forced with nitrogen. We forgot about the microbes. We've actually forgot about the little guys. And they're the foundation of all of our health.
Entonces ya tenemos 2 generaciones que han vivido sin esos microbios y es por eso que ya tenemos tantas enfermedades crónicas y podemos cultivar plantas que salen bonitas agregando nitrógeno y todo eso, pero esas plantas no traen los alimentos, los microbios que necesitamos y que los microbios que tenemos en el intestino y los del suelo son el mismo.
There was a study done on the human microbiome a couple years ago. Everybody here, we have about 800 tops colonies of bacteria in our microbiome. If you go to a community that is not sterilizing, not washing, not refrigerating, they have over 200,000 colonies of bacteria in their gut.
Entonces hace unos años hicieron un estudio de los microbios que tenemos en el intestino y hoy en día por lo general tenemos como 800 tipos de microbios, pero en comunidades donde no están limpiando todo con las prácticas higiénicas modernas, tienen en vez de 800 tienen como 200,000 tipos. ¿Cómo? Donde no tienen neveras, refrigeración, todo eso.
So the paradigm shift is we're no longer at war with germs. You raise the good guys, the bad guys go away.
Entonces el cambio paradigmático, el cambio de concepto es que ya no estamos en una guerra con los microbios, sino uno fortalece los microbios buenos y los microbios malos se van.
This applies to us as a human being too. We are no longer at war with our inner selves. You get the gardens going, you get the microbes going, we will thrive.
Eso aplica también a nosotros mismos, los seres humanos. No estamos en una guerra con nosotros mismos. Uno crea las huertas y las personas van a vivir bien.
You look after the little guys, the foundation is set. All good guys love oxygen. They're aerobic. All bad guys are anaerobic. They don't like oxygen.
Entonces uno proteja a los seres pequeños y esa es la fundación. Y uno ve que los buenos son los que les gusta el oxígeno y los malos no les gusta el oxígeno, son anaeróbicos.
So take off your masks.
Entonces saquen sus mascarillas.
In Ecuador here, if we don't change the soils and regenerate at a microbe level, there will be no more bananas. This is on the website. I've written an article on it. Bananas will be gone in 5 years if we don't change.
Aquí en Ecuador, si no hagamos ese trabajo de los microbios en el suelo, ya está escrito que en algunos años no va a haber bananos.
Is that from a virus?
A fungal.
It's a fungus, but what is happening is, whether it's chemical or organic, when you go in and attack and you do not put the microbes in, the next year they may survive that year. It's just like putting manure on your garden. You're going to get a great crop 1 year, but it destroys for the next year. It's progressively getting worse.
Ese lo de los bananos es por un hongo y el problema es que si uno nada más mata el hongo puede ser que que sobreviven los bananos este año, pero el otro año uno tiene que hacerlo otra vez y es un problema que vuelve peor cada año. Es algo progresivo porque uno no está fortaleciendo los microbios. Es igual si uno nada más echa abono de vaca en la huerta sin pensar en los microbios, es solo una solución de corto plazo.
The good news is the Soil Food Web School has a scientific arm. The scientists are coming in about 1.5 years to Ecuador, being brought in by the government to work on this problem. We're here because we're going to be the ant workers and get everything needed to do this transformation.
This is in 1.5 years, you said?
About 1.5 years. We got other projects.
La buena noticia es que la escuela Soil Food Web tiene un equipo de científicos y ellos van a llegar en Ecuador en 1 año y medio para trabajar al nivel de todo Ecuador sobre esos problemas. Gracias. Entonces, en este proceso nosotros aquí somos como las hormigas, trabajadores.
I don't know why this slide's not coming up, so I have to use this. Okay. So this compost that I have learned how to make, and Zia and Roshni are also learning how to make it there in the foundation course, is not your traditional compost. We're actually trying to grow microbes, fungi, bacteria, good guys.
Entonces, ese tipo de compuesto que están haciendo, que aquí en el programa Fundación, en que decía y Roshni que están aprendiendo, que no es un tipo típico que ustedes conocen de hacer un compost, sino están cultivando tipos de bacteria y hongos por medio del compost.
So when we apply this to our lands, to farms, to our gardens, to the farms, when you apply the good guys, the bad guys do not want to be there anymore. This is a pest control product.
Entonces, cuando uno aplica los buenos al suelo, los malos no quieren estar ahí. Entonces es un tipo de controlar los, ¿cómo se dice? Las plagas.
There's students all over the world, and in Australia, there were a couple of vineyards and sheep pastures that had decided to convert to this compost, to the microbiology. They were organic. They were transforming. They found after 2 years, their yields went up, their costs went down, and they were in 7-year drought.
Entonces hay estudiantes de ese Soil Food Web en todo el mundo. Entonces en Australia, unos lugares donde están cultivando uvas para vino y donde tienen ovejas, la producción subió, los gastos bajaron. Cost went up.
Cost went
Production
down.
went up, cost went down,
Cost went
and the
down.
third thing was...
Drought during a drought.
y eso fue durante una sequía.
A drought of 7 years.
Sí, una sequía de 7 años. Thanks.
So the neighbor farms are going, what are you doing? They didn't need as much water. Labor went down. They had to buy no fertilizers, whether they were chemical or organic. And they had more product than they've ever had before.
Entonces los vecinos preguntaban qué están haciendo porque el gasto de agua bajó, la necesidad de, o sea, fue menos trabajo, menos gastos, less water, less work,
No fertilizer.
y sin fertilizantes,
Organic or chemical.
ningún tipo orgánico, no orgánico, y más producción.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this is a no-brainer. It's a win-win for everybody. My favorite. There's also the other benefit of this is soil erosion. When the microbes are in the soil, they create glues. They hold the soil. They hold the carbon. They hold the water.
Entonces es algo que todos ganan, la ventaja de eso es algo obvio. Y otra cosa que no había mencionado es que esos microbios producen un tipo de pegante en el suelo que controla la erosión. Se dice así, ¿cierto? Erosión. Entonces eso guarda el carbón, todos los elementos del suelo para que se quedan ahí.
And of course, my favorite, I already talked about it, increased nutrition. You know, as a healthcare provider and the work I do, it's the number one thing. We need to bring nutrition back into our bodies and clean up our own gardens.
Y la ventaja más importante para ella es lo de la nutrición para los humanos, los elementos, la alimentación, para estar cultivando nuestras huertas internas.
So I'm just going to put on a little video. If I can figure it out. Man.
Vamos a mirar un video.
The guy who's going to be talking here is a little interest. Before I came to Ecuador, I was involved in his community called the Cafe Gratitude School of Transformation. And it's come complete circle because when Keisha and Casey went back to the States, they started to get involved with this community as well. This is all, it's like spirits being slowly teaching all these different aspects, and it's coming to fruition now.
Entonces está completando un círculo porque la persona que va a estar hablando en el video está de una comunidad donde Lisha antes trabajaba antes de todo eso, pero más recientemente las personas que estaban aquí, que fueron allá y introducieron esas técnicas a esa persona que Lisha ya conocía, que ya va a estar hablando en el video. Eso fue algo del concepto atrás de eso, entonces ahora va a hablar más del proyecto aquí del suelo vivo.
So we're officially launching the website, livingground.art, and I've figured out how to do Q codes. You'll see them everywhere, so you can scan it with your phone. Help the older people, younger ones, to go to the website. And the website gives all the angles of the project that we're launching officially today.
Entonces ya estamos inaugurando el sitio web livingground.art y ella ya ha encontrado la manera de crear un código QR, entonces todos pueden tomar la foto del código para poder entrar en el sitio web donde habla de toda la información sobre el proyecto.
So for those of you who know Keisha and Casey, they are extremely successful in their business in California. They're actually rock stars right now doing this work. We're hoping they're supposed to be online. We're hoping they're going to talk to you through Zoom or Skype soon. But this is their testimony page from the Soul Food Web School Group.
Entonces, para los que conocen Keisha y Casey, ellos están teniendo mucho éxito con su proyecto, su negocio en California, y ya están volviendo famosos, y vamos a intentar hablar con ellos ahora.
And it's been awesome. So now I'm going to bridge into, we were going to bring them in. They're not online yet, so we're going to have to shoot them in.
No están en línea todavía ellos.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the concept of sacred commerce.
Va a hablar del comercio sagrado.
Okay. First off, sacred commerce puts people before profits. It's a pathway to awakening.
El comercio sagrado primero pone el primer puesto las personas, no las ganancias, y es un camino de despertamiento.
There are tools that you use in sacred commerce, but team leaders, their primary position is to clear their employees, so they're working in a framework of love.
Hay ciertas herramientas, pero primero de todo, los que están guiando tienen que garantizar que los que están en su equipo están trabajando en un contexto de amor.
So what if we blended the sacred commerce concept, where everybody is involved in profit sharing, everybody is involved in helping each other be the best person they can be, and we had amazing products.
Entonces, ¿qué tal si por medio de ese comercio sagrado podríamos hacer que todos participan en las ganancias, todos participan en ayudarse entre todos y pueden
Amazing.
y crear productos increíbles?
So I created a system. I looked at the business, and I saw 9 different areas where the microbes were the focus, and we could put them all together for the benefit of everybody.
Entonces, analizando eso, ella encontró 9 áreas en que los microbios son en el enfoque y se podría unir todo eso para el beneficio de todos.
If you want to follow through on the pods, the Q code is on these bars, and you can click on it with your phone. I've written this all out so people can see it in the future, and this will be on the website too. So when I put these 9 areas together on my chart, the center being Living Ground, I found everything took a 11.1% of the pie. Beautiful number.
Entonces, aquí con las 9 áreas, sale que cada área tiene un porcentaje de 11.1, un número especial.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about all the different pods.
Va a hablar de cada pod, cada pod es una de las 9 áreas.
The compost makers, the microbe growers. These are the people who will be trained, and Richard, my good friend, is already being trained in this himself. I see him as one of our leaders. I also see a local and a gringo leader for each pod. Ideally, this is what we want, with a team. But the compost makers are the ones that will learn how to make. Have I gone too far? The microbiology, the microbe compost for sale.
Entonces lo ideal sería que cada área, cada pod tiene alguien de aquí y un extranjero como líderes del equipo. Y hablando primero del equipo de compost, que estaba diciendo que también Richard ya ha aprendido eso, él puede guiar también el proceso, pero ese pod que van a fabricar el compost de microbios, eso es para vender.
Joanna and Yandri too. También. I'm going to give, because this is completely visible, one compost pile, a windrow, that matures to 25 tons. If we were to sell it bulk, Keisha and Casey sell it for $1,700 a ton. I chose 200, which I think is reasonable for here. For this, there's $4,300 profit in one windrow pile.
I don't know how to say windrow, but
Windrow? Windrow's windrow?
Bueno, una vez haciendo una cantidad de compost que sería de 25 toneladas, entonces Keisha y Casey lo están vendiendo cada tonelada en $1,700. Ella está pensando aquí venderlo en 200, entonces eso sería how much profit? $4,300 de ganancia.
So there's more numbers. If we sell it in the big sacks at $20, remember this goes 5 times, 10 times further than any other compost. $20, there's $5,700 profit.
Si se vende por sacos grandes en $20, y teniendo en cuenta que ese compost es, como decía en el video en inglés, que una cantidad pequeña alcanza para mucho, entonces así la ganancia sería $5,700.
And if we sold that whole pile with the small bags, there's $6,300 profit.
Y si se vende toda esa cantidad de compost en bolsas pequeñas, sería de $6,300 la ganancia.
The reason I'm being open and sharing this, because there are no secrets. And I want everybody to know possibility. Are you waving at me?
No, I'm just having a question because who are your buyers?
Well, I'll get to that. It's everybody from farmers to locals to farms to people transforming the lands. We also will be I'll be training people how to make aerobic teas and extracts. Those are made specifically for clients. So when we know what they need, we will create the extracts and teas specifically for them. So this pod is about the microbe makers.
Entonces estaba diciendo que quiere que todo sea transparente, por eso estaba hablando de en cuánto lo vendría y todo es.
Someone's phone connected Bluetooth to the speaker, it sounds like.
No. Stop.
Somebody talking on their phone?
Is the person on Zoom?
Yeah, I'll
He's not on the good chat.
How do I get up there?
Maybe Keisha and Casey are here. Yes.
No, no.
Y la pregunta era sobre quién va a comprar ese compost. Entonces ella estaba diciendo que va a hablar más de eso, pero si bien todas las personas involucradas con la agricultura, y otra parte que es de otro pod es que van a crear preparaciones especiales para ciertos clientes, que es como un té de compost.
The second pod is the laboratory microbiologists. These will be the people who learn how to look through the microscope and learn how to count good guys and bad guys. Dr. Elaine has created a format for us to put reports together. I'm actually now trained to do this. It's $50 for a soil test. We can have soil shipped from all over Ecuador and put it through a microscope analyst.
Entonces el segundo pod es lo de los, no sé si se puede decir microbiológicos, los que van a aprender a analizar con el microscopio para contar los buenos, los malos, lo que hay de los microbios en el suelo. Ella ya está... y el doctor Elaine tiene un formato para hacer para organizar toda esa información, hacer una prueba de suelo. Ella ya hizo la formación en eso y puede hacer una prueba de suelo en $50. Pueden enviar pruebas, o sea, muestras de cualquier parte de Ecuador, y ella puede hacer la prueba aquí, analizar el suelo.
So for this pod too, I'm willing to train people in the laboratory, so other people are running the lab and I'm training them. Then there's consultants. The consultants are the ones that go to farms, go to gardens, take the soil test, take the input data to prepare a plan for a way forward for regeneration.
Entonces, lo del microscopio, ella puede formar a otras personas que pueden estar manejando todo eso. Y después el tercer pod es lo de los asesores, que pueden ir a las fincas, sacar muestras de suelo, ayudar con el plan, todo lo del asesoramiento.
Then we had another idea, because I make my own essential oils. What if we were to take farms that are growing sugarcane and corn and over again, regenerate those farms and put in plants for essential oils?
Entonces ya otro pod, como ella ya sabe hacer aceites esenciales, sería, por ejemplo, hay fincas que nada más cada año cultivan maíz, caña, pero pueden regenerar cultivando plantas para aceites esenciales.
Then we buy those plants and we have a distillery. My dream is 4 massive stills. And we produce these essential oils for local sale and export. Essential oil is not considered a medicine. It's really easy to export essential oils.
Y después la idea sería de comprar esas plantas para fabricar aquí los aceites esenciales. Lo ideal sería tener 4, no sé cómo se llama la herramienta para sacar el aceite esencial, y se puede venderlo aquí y también exportarlo. Es algo muy fácil, como legalmente no son medicamentos, entonces es muy fácil exportar eso.
So the grower wins, they get paid, the soil gets regenerated, and then there's another product, the essential oils at the other side.
Entonces es bueno para el agricultor, bueno para el suelo, y hay un producto bueno que se puede vender.
The next idea is a very large greenhouse to hold and host and grow rare and medicinal plants that will be used to make tonics and elixirs and be used as a medicine. That's another pod.
Bueno, ya el quinto pod es tener un invernadero para cultivar plantas especiales que son para preparaciones especiales o medicamentos naturales.
Then we'll have a market tienda that we're even going to go as far as buying baseball caps and t-shirts with a microbe saying I love my shit on it.
Después vamos a tener una tienda y hasta que vamos a tener gorros y camisas que dicen me gusta la mierda, algo así.
And we have this little tienda marketplace to be a real hub where people can come on a large screen, see the microbes, maybe even have a green shot of juice, have some elixirs, and have all the product from all the farmers locally who are growing in microbe soils. So it's not an organic market, it's a microbe market.
Entonces en esta tienda todos podrían ver en la pantalla los microbios del suelo, tener esa experiencia, pueden tomar un shot de plantas y van a tener todos los productos de esas fincas que están haciendo ese tipo de de cultivar con microbios. Entonces no es un mercado orgánico, sino es un mercado de a microbe market de microbios.
So everything sold in this store, everything sold on the land has got to do with the microbes. Whether it's the essential oils, the compost teas and extracts, the products in the store. And I'm also doing a compost tea drinking study.
Entonces todos los productos tienen que ver con los microbios, el compost, lo que están vendiendo en la tienda, los té de microbios. Y también está haciendo un estudio de estratos de compost para tomar uno mismo.
If you'd like to be a part of the study, email me. I need volunteers.
Si quieren hacer parte de ese estudio, ella necesita voluntarios, entonces puede contactarlo por correo electrónico.
If the study works, and I'm almost 99.99% sure it will, we can offer compost tea.
Si el estudio es exitoso y ella tiene una confianza de 99.99%, que esa bebida saludable, pues así se puede producir y vender ese producto.
So can I ask everybody just to close your eyes for a second?
Y cierren los ojos.
I see this land
Ella vea esta tierra
with a microbe store,
con una tienda de microbios,
microbe products,
productos de microbios,
elixirs and tonics,
tónicos, medicinas de microbios,
essential oils,
aceites esenciales,
education center,
centro de educación,
windrows of 70% cocoa, beautiful compost.
70% what?
Cocoa, like cocoa chocolate.
Ah, like cacao. Y teniendo compost bien bonita como el 70% de cacao.
Locals and gringos working together.
La gente de aquí y la gente de afuera trabajando juntos.
Transforming all the soils of the neighborhood and beyond.
Transformando todo el suelo de aquí y de más allá.
And everybody can participate, win, and profit.
Todos pueden participar, participar y ganar.
Are we ready?
¿Estamos listos?
Yeah? That's the dream.
Así es el sueño.
My commitment is to train these pods.
Su compromiso es de enseñar y formar esos pods.
So behind me here on the table,
She got one more pod, artists and creators.
oh, the artists and creators.
Y otro pod que se había olvidado.
There's a big movement in the States right now, artwork from microbes.
Hay un nuevo movimiento en los Estados Unidos de hacer arte con los microbios.
So at this place of operation, I see our t-shirts with the microbes from our local artists, drawings from our local artists. I see walls with nematodes and flagellates. I see our labels with this artwork. Maybe the artists need to eat the microbe food, and then that would bring the microbe concept into their artwork.
Microbe consciousness.
Entonces el arte sale en muchos aspectos, en las camisas, pueden hacer murales, en las tarjetas que hay con los productos, con la información. Estaba diciendo que quizás las artistas tienen que comer comida con microbios para que la inspiración de microbios viene por su arte.
So behind me here are the sign-up sheets. If you have interest in one of these pods, it doesn't have to be a leader interest. It could just be, I want to be involved in this team. We also have the off-site growers, which will be farms. I think Walter, Tumianuma, where's Walter? Tumianuma girls who are doing community garden. If they regenerate their community garden, they then can sell their product at the market. Okay, so there's a pod for that as well. When you're interested throughout the rest of the day, you can come up and sign up, because this is what today is about. I'll just a little bit more. In 1 week, I'm going to go on a walkabout. It's a 1 year since Jimmy passed. So I will not be answering and doing anything. I need to step out. And when I come back, I'm committed to these pod leaders, mentoring and training and getting this up and running.
When you said sign up for one, do you mean only one or
No,
as much
no.
as one?
If you want to belong to 4, put your name.
Right.
Yeah.
Entonces aquí pueden escribir su nombre para cualquier pod en que quieren participar. A los 9 pods más hay uno que dice off-site growers, es decir, los agricultores que tienen fincas. Entonces ya de pronto hay algo escrito que, bueno, la información es transparente sobre lo que necesitan. Que necesitan entre 55 y 75 mil dólares, y ya los gastos más grandes para las herramientas, eso ya lo tienen. Y pueden, hay información en el sitio web también, hay la oportunidad de inversión y pueden como vender asesoramiento con prevista, o sea, para después hacerlo para las personas que ya quieren invertir. Entonces, por el sitio web hay un proceso para recaudar fondos.
For some reason, I'm not worried about money. I know this is going to come. It feels so good. We're also willing to work with an investor who wants to profit with the investment. I don't know what that would look like. We're open to it.
Open to discussion.
But I'll just translate that first part. Ella no está preocupada por el tema de los fondos, pero estaba diciendo que también estamos abiertos a la posibilidad si hay alguien que quiere invertir para ganar algo. Eso puede ser una posibilidad.
So, what does everybody think?
¿Qué piensan?
Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to open the floor for question and answer. Yeah?
Where is the land for windows and pumpkins?
Right at the end of this road. There is a second property that we're looking at which is the old dormitory for the highway workers when they were building the highway. But when we went in to look at it, it was so overwhelming because there were dormitory rooms, tiendas, commercial kitchens, 20 showers.
Wow.
It was like, we could take this to ecotourism in the future. So we're starting with this local. It's walking distance for me. And we're keeping an eye on this property. And the property is contaminated because they did all the machine work there. It's perfect. We go in and uncontaminate it.
You mean where they have the dormitories?
Yeah.
Estaban preguntando dónde van a hacer esa cantidad de compost, entonces dice que es por allá al fondo, hacia la carretera. Y también han estado mirando ese espacio donde hay los dormitorios de los trabajadores cuando estaban haciendo la carretera. Y hay mucho allí, casi están pensando podremos hacer un tipo de ecoturismo, pero también la tierra allí, como está contaminada por todos los trabajos que hicieron, ella dice que es perfecto para demostrar el proceso de recuperar el suelo.
I'm actually going to hand the mic to Tara here. She's going to say a few words.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Tara. Muchas gracias por venir. Solo quiero explicar un poco más de los terrenos que estamos viendo. La ubicación de los dos, hay una tierra aquí en la carretera, del hermano de Richard, también nuestro socio en el proyecto. Los dos terrenos están muy visibles desde la vía, desde la carretera. La otra, donde estaba la compañía, sí, voy a hablar I'm going to speak in English too, I'm just saying it first in Spanish. Get the nervous part out of the way. Bueno, donde tenían la compañía que hicieron la vía, asfaltando toda la vía, está en la Y, ya, es la entrada a Kinara. The location of both of these lands that we're looking at are very key. So our goal is to really share this project, share this work throughout the whole local community and really transform as many lands as we can. And we've chosen these two prospects, particularly because of the location as well. We wanted to be close to where Alicia is because this is the real headquarters spot. And also the lands are right on the highway. So everyone that goes past, that's going to Yangana or going south on the Pan American Highway will see what we're doing. Yeah. And the spot where the company was that cemented and asphalted all the roads around here, the one that's very contaminated and has all the infrastructure, it's right at the Y intersection of this area and Kinara. For those of you that know Kinara, that would be my focus for the big scale, because there's a company in Kinara, various companies that have, most of Kinara is full of sugarcane. Yeah, that's been the main business of the lands around here on a massive scale. What happens with those lands? They're producing sugarcane, the owners are making a nice rental fee during the time that the company's renting their lands. But at the end of the production, they're getting their soils back and they're totally devastated, right? So what's the real value in that going forward? It would be a dream of ours to really take this project big into Kinara eventually. It's been my focus in my real estate career because the land out there, we're talking about really like headwater drainages, really important clean waters, a very small population. We're not dealing with major septic issues and contamination. The headwaters are right there at the back of the valley, as are many drainages coming in, right? We're living in a bowl of mountains here. So because of that bowl of mountains, there's just creek after creek after creek after creek around the whole way. Kinara, where you see all the sugarcane lands out there, those have ample water and we have a year-round growing season. So it's a key site to be able to actually offer a better alternative to all the locals that were otherwise renting their lands to the sugarcane company. We can go in there and actually rehabilitate the soils, help them make profits, and really turn it into a breadbasket. Like at the back of all this work, the goal is to make this place a more productive place for food, right? We have a year-round growing season, we have ample clean water, we should be even an exporter of more food at the beginning, at least, to become self-sustainable here, having all of our own local food coming from this area. That should happen. That's just, it has to happen. Bueno, en español también, o sea, la ubicación es clave, ¿no? Los dos terrenos están al lado de la vía, vamos a estar muy visibles, y también, por ejemplo, logrando a comprar el terreno con toda la infraestructura que está ubicada en la Y, entre la carretera y la llegada a Kinara. Todos van a ver lo que estamos haciendo, y si podemos y vamos a hacer el cambio de toda esa área que ahora está completamente contaminado por los mineros y lo que han hecho ahí. Van a ver el cambio y va a ser mucho más fácil llegar a Kinara después, y ojalá ser muy involucrados en el cambio de las tierras, ofreciendo una alternativa, no solo sembrar caña por un tiempo, dejando los suelos así muertos después, sino como llegar este servicio, este trabajo a una zona gigante con agua en abundancia y agua limpia, y bueno, solo quería anotar un poco de esos hechos de las posibilidades de los terrenos, porque la verdad queremos y solo podemos llevar este trabajo a la comunidad en colaboración con ustedes, y por eso estamos aquí, y también queremos realmente mostrar a la comunidad la posibilidad de este trabajo, ¿ya? Y los lugares son muy claves en eso.
Yeah, with the questions. Question and answer, Ben.
Otra cuestión.
I had a quick question if there's any kind of, if you have thought about having some kind of certification, and then if there would be any kind of way to support transition to getting to that point. Si hay algún tipo de certificación y si hay un proceso de la transición hasta tener esa certificación.
So every time we sell a compost extracts or teas, they'll come with a laboratory certificate showing the microbiology that is present, and there are minimum requirements in order to be considered a microbe soil, microbe compost. So the certification is testing people's soils. This is a part of our plan is to bring in, and our costing is to bring in 3 scientific microscopes and have people trained. So your certification is microscope, you've met minimum requirements.
Entonces la certificación es que va a haber un mínimo de microbios como un porcentaje, y también como parte del presupuesto la idea es tener 3 microscopos más para ese análisis. And there was also one in the back of the green shirt.
The University of Lockhart to work together for investigations and all these kinds of things. Maybe they can help out with that too.
If you want to work with the University of
Claro.
Doha,
La idea es colaborar con todos. We want to collaborate with everyone that's interested in this, especially in universities.
In El Tambo, and work together with the universities to train the new generations there.
Yeah, that's why there's so many young people here. I'm completely open to working with people and bringing this new knowledge.
Microscope.
Yeah, yeah. Laboratory pod.
there was a question in the group. Yeah.
Okay.
And someone in back me earlier asked about who's going to buy the compost. So it's great that universities or agricultural programs are training the new farmers in this, but all the existing farmers are going to have a hard time buying a $20 bag of compost as opposed to a $4 bag of compost. Without proper education.
What happens with this, with the conversion, is for the farms and local farmers, we go in at a consultancy level. We know where they're at. We know what the history of the land is. We know where we go to regenerate. And our goal is to train them in doing it. Our goal is to train them to actually make this compost, or minimum make the organic matter, which is different, You know, there's green piles, wood piles, depending on what you need to grow. So we just come in with teas. We just need to come in with teas and extracts and spray that property at specific times. It's all costed out. We know the end result is they win.
But
Yeah.
if they don't know that, it doesn't matter to me.
But it's our training. Now, part of this, when I was researching the tractor, thinking it was a backhoe, knowing this tractor needs to go 0.01 miles per hour. Very, very slow. We couldn't find one here in Ecuador. The Mighty Mike, I wanted to get something in here so we could duplicate this for other farmers. We're getting the Mighty Mike, they gave me the drawings. So it's possible I go to a welder and an engineer in town and say, can we duplicate this at minimum cost? And you can use a utility tractor, which is very cheap here, but we wanted to have a tractor where we could move material. It wasn't good enough for us. So we've tried to figure out how in the future, because it's not about profits, it's about people, really. I mean, everybody's got to win. Everybody's got to make some money. But it's about converting these farms, helping them to do that as easiest as we possibly can. You know, so they're going to be big purchasers of teas, extracts, compost, but our goal is to get them trained in how to do this in the first place.
And how do we get the word out to farmers here?
Me.
First thing is, once consultancy teams are trained in how to do this work, like Elaine has trained me, I train a team. They go out and convert farms. We are positive, because it's happening all over the world, when you get one farm, the neighbors want to know what they're up to and how they're doing it. So that's how we're going to get them. Now, when the school comes to the coast to work on they're working on bananas and mangoes. Bananas are in serious problem. We'll be the consultancy team. We're on the ground. We're producing the compost. When our outside consulting team goes to these jobs, their job is to train these farmers. It's not just to provide the product, it's actually to get them doing it on their land. This is
Try to do a summary.
yeah, summary.
Bueno, un resumen. Primero estaba preguntando como los agricultores por qué van a comprar una bolsa de compost que cuesta $20. Entonces ella estaba diciendo que pues la idea sería enseñarlos cómo hacerlo ellos mismos en su finca. O si no, si tienen como la base, o sea, las plantas para hacer el compost, nosotros podemos llegar con el extracto para aplicar el extracto. Hay muchas formas. Y estaba hablando de toda la parte del tractor, que una parte es que tiene que ir muy lento, como 0.1 millas por hora. Entonces va a llegar ese que se llama el tractor que se llama Mighty Mike, pero van a ver si se pueden replicar eso aquí, hablar con los mecánicos para ver cómo hacerlo en menos costo. Y estaba preguntando también cómo vamos a publicar esa información para que más agricultores sepan de eso. Y él decía que más de todo, cuando hay una finca haciendo eso y los vecinos ven el nivel de producción y todo eso, van a estar interesados. Y también este equipo que va a llegar de la escuela Soil Food Web, que van a trabajar al nivel de todo Ecuador, van a estar trabajando más de todo con el tema de los mangos y los bananos, pero esa información va a estar como circulando más.
Is there any other questions? See ya, and then.
Okay, so you're talking about a really large-scale, centralized compost making operation, and also teaching farmers how to make good compost. So can you fill in a little bit on that, like, you know, like people like our small farm, I guess if we're making compost the way, for it to be certified, it's simply analysis, microscope analysis.
Yeah, you have to have a microscope for this work, because otherwise we do not know what we're putting on the soil. And even, as you know, Zia, even piles we make fail. And there's pathogens, you know, and it doesn't meet the requirements, so.
So then you could be submitting your compost for, you know, a period of time, and then, or every single batch would need to be tested. I'm thinking I would want you guys to test it.
Yeah. Well, that's part of, when we're working with farms, that would be part of the service. When we're transforming regeneration, when we're consulting, we test the soils at certain periods, and then people can also come to us and have their soil tested too. I mean, they don't have to do the consultancy, and we can educate them that way, because each test, just like I do with the live blood, here's your test, here's your pictures, this is what this means, this is potentially the way forward. I mean, it's not going to be as detailed, right? But.
Estaba preguntando cómo sería, por ejemplo, para los que tienen una finca pequeña, cómo hacer ese compost, cómo certificar que ya tienen ese nivel de microbios y todo. Entonces estaba repitiendo que tiene que comprobarlo con el análisis con microscopio. Eso es necesario, pero cuando en el proceso de asesoramiento para convertir una finca a hacer una finca microbiológico, que estarían haciendo pruebas cada rato para ver cómo se va mejorando el suelo, y también pueden llegar aquí para las pruebas, igual como cuando ella hace pruebas de sangre, que ella hace el análisis y después tiene como recomendaciones o información de que muestra esa prueba.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, I'd like to suggest that you engage with local gardens and spreading the information, and also engaging them to, like most of them sell some kind of form of compost. And like I ask myself the question, what's in it? Like, what do I introduce to my soil? And getting them interested, even testing what they do, and eventually offering this compost as well.
That's a great idea. I mean, it's a fabulous idea. So she's saying for the local viveros, the local plant sellers, of literally having them educate them. I mean, it's all education, and having them sell the compost too. You know, so then it would even be like more of a bulk, so everybody wins still. I think it's a great idea. I mean, what if, so then, you know, everybody's buying this compost whether they know it or not. It's a great idea, yeah.
Estaba preguntando si se podría, por ejemplo, vender el compost también donde ya venden compost, en los viveros y todo eso, y ella dice que es una muy buena idea.
She just, I don't know what's in the compost.
Oh, I think Walter had a question.
Yeah, Walter.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, what is the legal and financial setup of this? Is it a private business or a co-op or what?
Ecuador is in a change right now. We were just going to get a resale, to be honest, because it's the simplest, most easiest. We can't. The government is transforming or doing something, so we can't apply for anything right now. We're considering a foundation. And right now, the operations is actually under Tara's real estate license as property management. So that's how we're legally situated right now. We may go for the foundation. That's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of legals. It's a lot of money. We would love the resale, but the government's saying you can't apply for any business right now because we're changing everything.
Ashore,
Pardon?
you can do the business on, but not in Ecuador, but outside.
He's saying
Offshore.
Offshore? Yeah. We're open to recommendation. I'm not.
You got Nick in the back there.
I don't have a lot of info in that direction.
Está preguntando sobre sobre qué tipo de entidad legal tienen para todo ese trabajo. Él estaba diciendo que ya ahora mismo en Ecuador todo se está cambiando, no se puede hacer, dicen un RICE, okay, no se puede hacer ahora mismo un RICE. Están mirando la posibilidad de crear una fundación, pero eso es también complejo y gasta mucho. Entonces están analizando eso, pero por el momento, por medio del negocio de tara, de raíces, ¿cómo se dice? Bienes raíces, por el momento están vinculados con eso. Y el señor estaba diciendo que quizás se podría formar algo desde otro país y ella dice que bueno, estamos abiertos a las varias posibilidades.
You got Nick back here.
Last one. So in the video I saw the compost windrow with mushrooms pointing out, and you did mention fungi in the compost. Is there any teaching or philosophy around the application of the compost?
Oh yeah.
Tilling the soil or not?
Yeah, we're actually, and then after we finish the question and answer, I can take you back to my little compost area. There's different composts we grow with different materials for different fungi bacteria ratios. And right now I'm in the process of harvesting local fungi because they're good guys. And in this science, we don't need to know the name or the species or the family or the genus. We just know it's a good guy. You put it in soil, and there's different trophic levels of growing that require different fungi bacteria ratios. So this is part of the training that I'll put forth. The other side to this, even Dr. Lane says this, we don't know enough yet. Now, I'm in my thesis project right now, but every client that I could potentially do in the future, or any other student, we give it to the school, the data that we're collecting, because everybody's still learning. There's a foundation, we know this works, but everybody's still learning. Yeah? So, we know what the bad guys are, we want to get rid of them. We know what the good guys are, we can grow them. Yeah?
You got Nick in the back here.
I think I just finished.
La pregunta fue sobre cómo aplicar el compost, más información sobre eso. Ella dice que más de todo tiene que ver con la proporción de bacteria y hongos o proporciones de microbios. No es tan necesario saber el tipo específico, la especie, pero saben como cuáles son los buenos aeróbicos, cuáles son los malos, crecer los buenos, pero también las proporciones que se puede ver por el microscopio. Está en proceso de recolectar, por ejemplo, hongos de aquí, de esos suelos, para estar cultivando, creciendo eso. Entonces saben bastante de qué hay que crecer, cuáles son los malos, pero también están aprendiendo todavía. En todo el Soil Food Web están siempre aprendiendo más sobre eso.
Jeffrey? So, I was going to make an offer to maybe make suggestion and help with the whole structure, the legal part of it.
Yes.
Awesome!
Yeah.
But my question is, can the compost tea be something that has a lifespan that can be exported readily as like a, no?
No.
Okay.
No.
It just doesn't have that.
Because they do that people are doing that, but they're using a chemical to put the microbes into dormancy that's not good for the soil. So, it doesn't quite work. You can, and this is what I'm doing for the compost tea drinking study I'm doing, you can dry out a compost, and all those microbes will go into dormant stage. And then add water, and they wake up.
Well, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how you do it. My question is
Yeah.
around ways to further the sustainability and just add a way to export,
Yeah.
and just make an abundance, of provision
For it, yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a way.
Le estaba diciendo primero que él de pronto puede ayudar con la parte de formar una entidad legal, pero después la pregunta fue si habría una manera de exportar esos estratos o té de compost, y se dice que no tanto, porque hay algunos que están haciendo eso pero echan una química como preservante, pero conservante, pero eso ya es algo malo para el suelo. Pero están mirando un proceso de secar esos estratos, y así si después echando agua todo otra vez tendría vida.
So I'm just wondering about whether you're opening these top positions as voluntary positions or whether they are an employment plan, and if they're voluntary, at what point does it translate financially for everyone who's entering into the business with you?
Okay, so the question is, with the pod leaders, are they voluntary or paid, or when will that transition? The training is voluntary because I'm offering myself free. Nobody's going to get paid to show up for training when I'm not getting paid. The purpose of the training is so everybody can make money. Okay? This literally is a profit. Everybody will get paid for their hours in operation for the business. The profit sharing works how many hours you have worked compared to the whole. And at the end of a 6 month, I mean, this is to be determined, a quarterly, a 6 month, or a year, everybody will have a portion of their hours, their percentage of hours of the total whole as a check.
It's a really beautiful structure.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody wants everybody to win. I mean, every pod wants the other pod to survive because everybody's going to win from everybody else winning.
And you never know, maybe we could get financial support to already start paying people. It's kind of depending on how people want to be involved, who can contribute what. I mean, ideally, it would be wonderful to already have teams getting paid right off the bat. But we're just saying where we're at now, but you never know.
La pregunta fue sobre, por ejemplo, si los líderes de los pods, si van a estar trabajando totalmente voluntariamente o van a ganar algo, cómo funciona eso. Entonces la formación es algo, o sea, es algo voluntario, no van a recibir plata por hacer la formación, porque ella también va a estar pagada por enseñar, pero la idea es que por hacer esa formación todos después pueden ganar con esa información, con esa formación. Y como el negocio de todo ese negocio, él dice que no vamos a ser parte de esa entidad formalmente, pero es como una comunidad en todo el mundo compartiendo información, y mientras que están siguiendo los protocolos, el método del Soil Food Web, pueden utilizar ese nombre aquí. Entonces, en este sentido, siempre vamos a ser parte de esa comunidad global. Y Tara estaba agregando que con Keisha y Casey en California, la idea es tener algún tipo de relación. Es como algo que todavía se va como formando para ver qué tipo de relación, pero vamos a estar en un cierto tipo de relación con ellos.
Is there any other questions?
Could you talk a little more about the greenhouse pod or deal? Like, if you already have a greenhouse and you'd like to use it for the special medicine plants, like, are these plants already here and they grow here, obviously?
Well, I'm a herbalist.
You're growing, so
And yes, I have.
And I have a dome, a geodesic dome greenhouse that's not really being used right now.
Well, this is to sell and educate people about their own, like people can come and they can buy seeds and or plants that are medicinal and or rare. So it's to sell to people who want to put those in their greenhouses for their own medicine gardens. Right?
Oh, the greenhouse?
The business itself will have a very large greenhouse that will be almost a teaching center for this work. People walk in and go, look at your tomatoes, let's try one, oh my gosh. But we're also part of the business is selling seeds and plants that are rare and medicinal, something different to what the other vivarios are really doing. You know, and I think, I mean, from a creative point of view, and I'd have to work with team leaders in this regard, it's like, why don't we put have little cards with these plants? People know how to make the medicines, or how to grow them, you know, and try to be and then maybe that's up to the artists. You know, the artist pods can come in and say, we're going to create these for you.
Right, I thought you had mentioned people growing these plants to sell back to the to make a big tract.
Yeah, so I mean, you could. If you have a greenhouse, this is the other pod, the outside growers.
Yeah.
If you have a greenhouse and or a farm, and your soil is regenerated, it has the microbes in it, we'll buy or we'll have some sort of commission work through the tienda.
In the shop,
Yeah, I mean, you can make the medicines and put them in the store, and it's up. But as long as it's all connected to the microbes, everything has to be connected to the microbes.